Hello, good people. What is going on tonight? Highway Jack, the Angry American. Got my man Tim Tenney sitting co-host, and we got a guest going to sit in with us tonight too. So hope you guys are ready for this. I already had a couple of callers. Bear with us, and we will be taking calls. We'll try to get through the first commercial break before we do, and that'll be in about 20 minutes, and then we'll hit you guys back a message to tell you to come on with it. Other than that, Tim, how you doing today, man?
Oh man, running like wild, man, as usual, running like wild.
Yeah, you had my run today. Birmingham back to Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, I'll tell you, there's so much to discuss. I tried to make myself a little cheat sheet. I heard music playing in the background.
No, I had the YouTube up over here. I'm trying to get it shared.
Okay.
Scared you, didn't
I was like, what the hell of it? Something done broke up in here. But man, I got a lot of stuff to get to knock out. But first, I want to touch something that a lot of folks have been having some confusion with. And I think that you and I talked about this, is President Obama, when he speaks of ISIS, he doesn't say ISIS, he says ISIL.
Yep.
Now, did you and I have this conversation?
I don't know. I do know why. I actually did some research on it a while, several months ago, because I was.
Well, all you had to do was ask.
Well, I wouldn't ask you. I'm gonna do my own research.
Well, here's the deal. Okay, everybody talks about ISIS, and that's the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or Asham. Okay, and that's even what they go by. But President Obama, the reason he says ISIL, and what that stands for is it takes the Syria out of there and replaces it with Levant, or Levant, as some would say.
Levant.
And some say Levant. It's being in America, you pronounce it any daggone way you want to, but I've heard it Levant and Levant. So, pick your poison. Doesn't really matter to me, tomato. But here's the situation with what that stands for, is that basically builds a bridge and encompasses Cyprus, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, and Palestine, and parts of southern Turkey. So what does that do? Effectively, that erases Israel.
His whole point.
Yeah, that's his point. So he's not speaking to the American public when he says ISIL. He is showing his, in theory, or in conspiracy theory, if that's what you want to call it, so that I don't get my butt locked up in the morning. Some say that he's speaking to his comrades, his Muslim Brotherhood, and letting them know that he knows where they stand with the terminology of ISIL versus ISIS. So, and that was asked like during Homeland Security meetings and everything, and it was completely blown off. The mouthpiece for Obama sometimes will say ISIL, but for the most part, everybody else uses the terminology ISIS, and that's what we in America call it. Now, of course, there you have it. I just wanted to knock that out because there was some question about that. I've had people ask me, but basically he's saying by calling it ISIL that the Jews don't have a home. There is no Jerusalem, and that is owned and run by the Muslims, which since, 436 AD, I think, when they started trying to take over the world with the caliphate. I could be wrong on the year, but it was a long time ago. And, homie, they haven't come too far. They're still
long before me.
They are still doing the same thing and behaving in the same mannerisms pretty much, and that would be barbaric, which really, it blows my mind that. Here's a question for you before I state what I was going to state. Where do you get your news from?
Different sources.
Right?
Yeah, I never stick with the same one.
Here's the thing. Facebook has got such a monopoly on our lives that when you ask people where they get their news from, they typically say Facebook. Well, when they say that, they're assuming that they're getting from everywhere.
I'm going to let the guest in.
All right. So they think they're getting their news from everywhere because it's Facebook, it's the internet, the interwebs. Problem is, if you haven't noticed, when you are on Facebook, you get messages on the right side typically of your Facebook page, and it'll if you if you don't think this is scary, folks, think about it for a minute. It's like the last thing you shopped for, or whatever news you were searching, and all that is catered to you because it's letting you have something to go off of. You know, it's your interest is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. So hence, where are you truly getting your news from? You're getting your news from Facebook, but it is tailored to what you comment on, what your friends comment on, where you're searching your news. So you're not getting the worldwide news. You're getting a taste of it. You're only getting what is told to you from Facebook as kind of being okay for your profile. So you are being profiled, whether you like it or not, which brings me to our next little subtopic, and that is profiling. You know, Obama says that he doesn't want to profile people. Come on, give it a rest. We all profile. I mean, we absolutely do. Black, white, green, or pink, it doesn't matter. You're going to profile. Excuse me. And by pink, I mean female. All right. So, and that was not as a negative connotation as it come across out there. Boy, I'm digging a deep hole, ladies. Bear with me. But in stereotyping, we have to do that. I mean, Trump made a very good statement that Israel's been doing it in the airports, and they haven't had anything go wrong in the airports in like a decade. So they're trying to stop it there before it gets any further along. You have to stereotype, guys. I mean, and everybody wants to go against Trump and say, well, how do you stereotype? Well, who are you pushing for? You're trying to get him to say a racist comment, whether and he flat out said, I'm not stereotyping Muslims, I'm stereotyping the criminal element. And that can change depending on what's going on. Let's take the bombing over the past weekend. Stereotyping. What are we looking for? Boom. There you go. A Muslim male in his 20s. You know, I mean, that's the bottom line. You have to stereotype for your safety. If you want to put that out and say that you are not going to stereotype, then you're missing out on a big part of your safety. Excuse me again. Think about your home. I mean, when you see people walking past your house, do you not stereotype those people? Do you not wonder if they're the type of people that might be breaking into your home? I mean, you have to stereotype. I mean, that is, it is a, what would we call it? In the gun world, we would call it situational awareness. And what that means is you're paying attention to your surroundings. So if you're walking down, you know, a bad neighborhood and you know what the criminal element look like, whether it be white, brown, or black, it really doesn't matter. I mean, that's what you have to look for in your stereotype.
No, you can't stereotype the guy that's walking around your house at midnight with the mask on.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no.
He's an innocent cat. You know, he's just cold that night.
Absolutely. But it's only 90 in the summertime.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be 90. I mean, we could stereotype old women that pass out in 77-degree beautiful weather.
You just had to do it.
You know, on 9/11, for example.
You just had to go there.
Hey, you open the door.
Come on.
Had to walk on in. I had, and not to get off subject, but I do have to. I got tons of paperwork for you YouTubers that can see. Here we go. This is it. This is one that I had on my list to knock out. So we took care of the stereotyping, and if you like it, you know, or don't like it, tough, deal with it. Wake up and pay attention to what's around you. But who does this sound like? I will consider it a personal insult, an insult to my legacy, if this community lets down its guard and fails to activate itself in this election. Said a certain stern someone with booming passion, you want to give me a good send-off, go vote.
Sounds like any narcissist out there.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if that is not the most narcissistic thing, well, it's not the most. He has had plenty of narcissistic things. But a way to con people into voting, you know, again, if you've seen guys, you're going to bear with me. My allergies are really killing me. If you've seen on the Angry American page, I did share the last polling. And if you look at that map, and I shared it from, who did I share? I think I shared it off of either Lady Liberty or Prissy Ollie's page. But the Clinton campaign is up in arms trying to figure this map out because there's not very much blue in it. If you look at it, a lot of the states that Obama had locked up in the last couple of elections, right down the middle, that's all red. Even in the South, of course, we know we're pretty much red, but there's even a red state up in the Northeast, which is kind of a rare thing. So that's you know, he's talking about giving him a good send off. I'd like to give him a good send off to Guantanamo or Gitmo or get you some of that, Joe. You know, I mean, he doesn't deserve. He wants to talk about his accomplishments, and if you really look at it, everything, whether it be employment rates, deficits, debts, nothing is better. The black community is no better off by having this alleged. Well, I say alleged, and what I mean by that, he's not 100% African American, which really doesn't make a hill of beans to me. But the promises that he's made and the promises that he's standing behind campaigning for Hillary, who has been in Congress for and in politics for what 30 years now, and hasn't made any now they'll tell you she's made positive things for women, but then when you go, well, what did she do for women? It's deer in the headlights. Hello, nobody's home. I mean, can you name one positive thing? Seriously. I mean, no. We get our news from around the world. I mean, has the Clinton Foundation donated monies? Yes, they have. But are they also being investigated for, what did they call it, a Ponzi scheme? Yes, they are.
Well, they're donating money to people that are going to donate it right back just so it looks real good for them. But no, I mean, they can't answer that question. You're talking about tell me one thing, tell me something, tell me anything, tell me multiple things that she's done good for anybody. They can't answer it themselves.
She's got her daughter a job at the Clinton Foundation making $600,000.
Well, you know, same way with NBC when she went there for $900,000.
And she gets, you know, upwards of $200,000 to $400,000 for speaking engagement. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you know, the fact that she wanted to come out after Trump made his statement about the bombings and say that Trump pretty much had lended a hand to terrorism to get those guys. How did she put it? Recruiting. They were using him as a recruitment for ISIS. I mean, seriously, really?
Yeah, you know, she said she claimed that he was in a couple of ISIS recruiting videos.
Yeah, because they're scared to death of him. They're trying to get things together before he gets in there.
Let me tell you a little secret, something that you probably don't know. You may. Bill Clinton was also in one.
In a
ISIS recruiting video.
Well, yeah, and if you look back in his time, he was for standing up for America. I mean, he was like one of the few Democrats that actually stood up and wanted to take care of, you know, and do the build the wall thing. I don't think he stood up for that. I think he was sitting in a chair in the Oval Office.
No, but he was standing.
Yeah. Monica had him standing tall. Man, I'll tell you what.
I said.
He was at attention for sure. Which, you know, speaking of which, and again, I digress, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. But when we talk about standing at attention in a wholly, and this is kind of a perverted mentality, but in a different context, and that the actual context that we should mean it as. Did you see that high school football team? It was the entire football team. Well, I forget where that was.
Washington or Oregon, I think.
Seattle. No, it was Seattle because they posted it saying it was the liberal home. Yeah. Every one of them. If one of them kids had been mine, I don't care what the coach said. I'd have snatched his hind end up. He wouldn't have played. Had to worry about kneeling down or standing up for the pledge or anything else because he wouldn't have been on a team. Well, he wouldn't have gone to a game.
He wouldn't have been able to walk if he'd been a kid.
But you know, that goes back to what they're learning from. You know, we say athletes, professional athletes, back in the day, every time they traveled and got on a plane, they had to wear a suit and tie. And they had to look respectable because children looked up to them. And because of what Kaepernick and others have done, now these kids are thinking, well, that's the thing to do.
Well, I mean, you know, not to mention that it's
a high school football team.
These darn coaches ought to be held responsible for that.
Oh, he took an out. He took an out and said his whole team wanted to. And you're right.
I don't care.
He's an adult.
I don't care.
Not a very responsible one, but he's an adult.
Was it you that told me that the NBA has it in their contract?
Yeah, the NBA has it in their contract, unless it's been changed, that all players must stand for the national anthem. And I mean, here's the thing. What do we call it? The National Football League, the National Basketball Association. These are national. Yeah.
National.
Think about what you're there for and who you're, you know, what they want to say is their First Amendment right, but they're real quick to forget who allowed them to have that First Amendment right. You know?
Well, and I watched a video yesterday, and this was a golly, I wish I could remember who it was. It was a coach, and he brought out, I think it was a basketball coach. Matter of fact, I know it was.
Yeah, it was a basketball team. Yeah, he brought them out and showed them why they stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't remember what school that was, but
I don't know, but it was great.
Had like World War II veterans in it, and
veterans from everywhere.
Yeah, and he said it was to let them know why they had seats,
why they had the chairs to sit in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was an awesome video. I don't remember who that was either. You're going to have to find that, and we'll share that with the viewers while I talk about this. We were talking about people doing things that Trump is talking about doing years ago. Clinton, saying he was for, our security and all that. But who's helping build a wall, and 200 kilometers of that barrier is already completed? President Obama has sent money over to Tanzania and I forget what it borders. Is it Libya and Tanzania that borders one another? I'd have to pull out that part of the country. I will admit is not my strong point, but I do know that I saw this video of how they built this thing. They built it with sand. So far, it's got 2 tall sand walls with a moat in the middle of it. And I don't know the distance of this moat, but it looked pretty good size. And they're, of course, using electronic surveillance devices and things that you might think we should have been doing with the Rio Grande like a long time ago. Yeah. Oh, but here's the thing. It's armed as well. We couldn't do that. That would be inhumane. But yet he has sent money over there. And I forget, I'd have to pull it up. I actually have shared that on one of the pages. I want to say it was like 75 million. But I just had a little note here that it's a security wall and barrier. God, I can't talk today. Because they feel that there's planned attacks in Libya. Really? You think so? Well, for you YouTube viewers, you've seen we've got a guest in here. We're going to introduce her after the commercial break and get on that. And then we'll also let you guys call in because I'm rolling. I'm waiting on my co-host here to find something. And here's another thing that really got me. Obama got on the media during the bombings. And he actually said this shortly before they caught this guy. But he told the media not to get ahead of the police investigation. Again, covering for a Muslim, we didn't want to use the word Muslim terrorist, international terrorist, anything. He said, don't get ahead of the media, guys. Let's let them do their job. Don't let the media get ahead of the police. Let the police do their job.
Unless it's a shooting of a criminal.
Exactly, which happened Friday.
Yes, it did.
There was a white female officer shot a black man. And, of course, that's still under investigation. But while they don't want to get ahead of that bombing that injured, 38 people?
They want you to find out that it was ISIS terrorists that did it.
Right. Well, they've already pretty much threw this female cop under the bus because Hillary said that in her latest campaign, little speech, that she thinks that she needs to talk to the white people so they can understand where the blacks are at on this whole cops against black shooting thing. And let me tell you, if you're and I know that probably nobody that listens to us is, although we do get some hate from the left, so obviously we have a few left-wing haters. But seriously, if you think of anything about voting for her and she's sitting there telling you basically you're a racist, bottom line, we need to have a conversation with the white people in America over police shootings. You got to be kidding me.
Like she freaking knows.
Yeah. Really? I heard that and I was like, who can listen to this woman and not about to lose their mind? Well, she did have 300 people show up at one of her recent stuff, the one they had to move the wall up and decorate it and
make it look like there was a gazillion people there.
Yeah, and it's so funny when Trump does a rally, they try to focus on him, but Fox will expand the view and show the audience, and it's just like whatever arena or whatever he's in is slam packed. But when Hillary does one of her rallies, they pretty much stay focused. You hear clapping from those clap machines that they allegedly use, but you don't see people. Seriously. So we've got a minute and a half before we go on commercial. So Tim,
real quick,
what do you got going on over there?
Buzz Williams.
Just gonna say Buzz Lightyear for a minute.
Buzz Lightyear Williams. Buzz Williams, Virginia Tech men's basketball head coach. is the one, and the
he's the one that did the brought the kids out.
yes,
Man,
he did.
hats off to that dude, no
Yes,
doubt.
absolutely. Virginia Tech coach teaches players why they stand for the national anthem. Go watch it. It's a great video. He does some excellent explanation, and he does have men and
the
women
only
in
thing
uniform.
I didn't like about, and we got just a few seconds, we're going to commercial break, but the only thing I'll say that I didn't like about that is he was kind of tied up in his speech, which is cool, but he had his hands in his pocket. Now, don't ask me why that bothered me so much, because he was doing an awesome thing, but I just wish he'd have had his hands out of his pocket.
I don't disagree, but that's a coach's stance. I mean, if you watch any coach,
You think that's what it was?
well, if you watch any coach that's not coaching at the moment, now when they're coaching, they're usually knelt downward on their with hands on the knees. But if they're just standing, most of the time they got them in those pockets. I mean, that's just a coaching thing.
All right. We got 15 seconds before we go into commercial break, and going right about now. That 15 seconds went quick.
I was just telling you, audio is still on. It doesn't matter. It's just
It's all right, YouTubers. We're gonna get our guests.
YouTube. You're the only ones that can still hear us.
Grab the screen. You need to move the mic. Just grab here or the boom, and talk close to it.
Okay.
That one is what's picking up all the other.
Okay. Okay.
And headphones, and I'll keep an eye on.
He may have to bring you up some, but he's got all the controls over there.
That's fine.
Yeah,
You'll have to get up on the mic.
So YouTube, this is what you get to see that the
Nobody else can hear us but you. You're so special.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live and living color, no doubt. And we got our guest here, the dangerous Brandy, to my left, across from. Well, I was gonna, you know what? I was gonna put my foot in my mouth, but I'm just gonna say she's the lovely wife of my co-host. I'll wait to put my foot in my mouth when it gets a little later in the show.
Just make sure I'm watching when you do.
I'll put my foot in my mouth, and she'll put her foot where I'm sitting. But we're glad to have you hanging out with us.
I'm glad to be here.
You've had several invites, and you got here late because you were hungry, not because we were waiting on a woman, but we had to move on with the show. But glad you made it with us. And so, tell us what do you think about what we've said so far? I mean,
spot on.
You hear it from sitting at home, but sitting here,
she'll tell me to shut up.
Well, I'm not talking. I'm talking about the radio show, not your home.
Okay. Well, she hears it from me when I'm not on the show.
But what do you think about this thing they're trying to push Sharia law in America and get women to cover up and all that stuff? What do you think about that? I mean, from a female's point of view, I happen to know for a fact is not a Muslim.
My issue is they can go back to their own country.
But why? They don't like it there.
Well, that's just too bad. We don't cover up here. I'm not covering up for anybody.
Oh man, that's like so many doors wide open. Golly. That's like when I had Heather, Lady Liberty on, man, it's just like the doors, when women are, man, it's just like the things you guys say that just leave the door wide. And you wonder why men are such slobs and why we say the things we do.
Oh, no, it doesn't faze me. You forget I work in a firehouse.
That's right. And, and we want to thank you for all you do. I know I've mentioned Tim doing some EMT and you as well. And now you're a fire lady.
Totally different night and day.
Ooh.
I stick on the ambulance side of it, though. I still like being the paramedic, so I'll stay with it.
Well, the paramedic bag you towed around weighs as much as some people do.
I don't disagree with that. I think it's ridiculous.
Well, since we have a female sitting on the show, and I don't know if you got a pretty Apple MacBook over there, which once you take a bite of the apple, but I don't know if you had any notes. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about, or are you just sitting in with us? Or
I'm just kind of sitting in with y'all. I may chime in from time to time.
She's along for the ride, boys and girls. Might I tell you, it's a bumpy ride.
That was a bizarre ding. What was that?
It was somebody's phone, or
That sounded like it was through the headphones.
Yeah, it was through the
Hey,
headset.
somebody sending a message to the phone over there.
Oh, there's always, this is not, it's funny when DJ Smiles answers the phone because this is not a Mac, not an iPhone, which none of this crap is.
Man.
There we go. I got it turned on. It's like a woman. You just got to find the right buttons. I didn't say that, did I?
That's quite all right.
Oh, we got a couple of voicemails. So
No.
if you've called in, I did say wait till after the commercial break. So if you have called in, feel free to call back in if you want to participate in the conversation, have something to say. We gladly welcome you to call in right now. And we appreciate you holding off on calls for the first little bit of that. But go ahead and feel free to call in. Again, Highway Jack, Angry American Radio. And I hate when, now that I used to joke with all the camel jockey jokes and all that stuff. So I kind of have a habit of throwing that dialect in there. And now I got to where I can't stand it. Survey says the phones are ringing. Highway Jack, Angry American Radio, you're on. What's going on?
Hey, this is Brother Bob. How are you, Jack?
Brother Bob, doing better than I deserve, as some say.
Yeah, well, you saved me from putting my foot in my mouth by mentioning that your co-host is the wife of your other co-host.
Well, she's a guest. She hasn't made her way up the ladder yet. She may make it up the ladder in the fire department, but she's still a guest on Angry American Radio. She hasn't earned the co-host status yet.
Well, let me say one thing about her. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
EMS and first responders are the top of my book. And what you do and what you experience and what you take home and what you leave at work, it's hard to separate. And I can tell you from being retired military that I've seen some things. I've been a first responder as a civilian, and some of those sites still haunt me. And I really appreciate the fortitude that you have.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your services to this country.
Okay. Well, now that I'm a pissed off American.
Now he's coming after you, Jack.
I was going to say that, she's seen a lot. She's raised boys. So
just bring it on, Bob.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, she's probably seen or heard it.
I'll try to censor myself. I've been taking notes. Again.
Well, on that reference, hold your thought for just a minute, because I've watched several YouTube. We listen to the show all the time, and we know that 99.99% of our viewers are on the app or on the web, not necessarily on YouTube. But for folks in YouTube land, let me point you to this. When I have my phone in my hand and a caller's on the phone or Tim's on his computer or something, we are still engaged in the media. We are typically looking at notes. Since Bob brought that up, I'm looking at my notes while listening to him, because I have my notes in front of me. So if he asked me something that I can't remember, maybe I'll be lucky enough to have it in my notes. So
maybe he took a note of it.
So Bob, go ahead with your notes and let me see if I can answer them out of my notes. Go right ahead.
Well, I knew Captain Morgan when he was a lieutenant. So
you haven't been paying a visit with him tonight, have you?
It's my afternoon, evening ritual. I have a cocktail with him every now and then. We talk. But anyway.
Okay. And not only do women leave the doors wide open, so do men. But go right ahead, Bob.
First of all, the 20 for 20 challenge. Thank you very much. You have been a key, very instrumental part of pulling me from the edge, and I'm keeping that up with my 20 for 20 sit-ups.
22, Bob. 22. Forget what the media says. It's dropped to 20. We're going to stick with 22. We're going to tough it out.
Thank you. But I'm continuing with my 22 sit-ups. I'll probably switch back up after that's done to the 22 push-ups. Looking for the big challenge of the 22 pull-ups. I don't know when the last time I've done that was.
Yeah, you better work your way up to that one, Bob.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's one note out of the way. I want to thank you for promoting that and keeping the word out.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I've got to say had the fortunate time this past weekend to do a retirement party for Command Sergeant Major Matthews, 30-year retirement party, and he had been following the Angry American and personal Facebook page, and here we are celebrating all of his great service, and they were everything from privates, believe it or not, to a general. I won't call any names out. And they were all just super admirable, as you would expect from such great patriots. But when he brought out the fact that I'd done the 22 push-up challenge, I could not believe the thanks that I got for that simple little thing. And that's what I tell people, Bob. When you do it, I do it, or anybody does the 22 push-up challenge, and shares that really impacts lives. And people don't get that so much, and that's a shame, because they should. When you share it with your friends and they do it, and what we're speaking of, boys and girls, and we say this almost every week, the 22 push-up challenge is for the fact that we lose 22 veterans on average every day. That's about 1 to 2 every 2 hours. And they're committing suicide. They're not being lost as in waiting in line at the VA, which I'm sure we lose some there, unfortunately. But they're committing suicide. And this is to raise awareness. And, Bob did a great job. He completed his 22.
I'm just a slacker.
And Tim was the first person that I actually challenged to do the push-up challenge, because I was like, man, I got this, and I can get one person motivated right out of the gate. And he has been slack.
Really?
I haven't forgotten, believe me. I've just
Bob,
it's been so
I think he's
much.
trying to say he's old and forgotten.
No, I'm not forgotten. I haven't forgotten.
Yeah. I guarantee I'm older than he is, and my mind is probably a lot less sharp than he is. So, Tim, get on the damn stick, will you?
I don't know nothing about getting on no stick now, Bob, but I'll do the push-ups. All right,
Bob, we'll let him start with girly push-ups. Okay.
Can I do one a day?
Yeah.
Hey, I started with girly push-ups, and my goal was, after my 22 days, was to do 22 quote-unquote good ones. And I met my challenge. And actually, I threw in a couple extra cheaters for people that have supported me. But it doesn't matter whether you do girly push-ups.
Tim, if you can't man up, Tim, and you just have to do the girly push-ups, we'll let you slide.
Oh man, it really has nothing to do with.
Okay, Tim, let me let you off the hook right here now.
No, you ain't gonna let me off the hook. I'm gonna do them.
Well, and I'll be following you, damn Skippy. But let me move on to another subject here, because I want to get through a couple notes, and don't want to take a whole lot of time. The shooting of the father of the 4 children that did not comply with the required responses from local law enforcement.
Yeah, when they told them to put their hands up and get down and things of that nature.
Man. That's why we have the Constitution.
You sure that wasn't racism? And yes, I said that very sarcastically, and I did it so intentionally.
No, it's not racism at all. All you got to do, if you comply, I don't care what color you are, just comply, and you have your recourse to a sue in a court of law that you may have felt you've been done wrong, but you're still alive, damn it. I mean.
Well, fighting it on the street is not the place to do it. And just to point out, I did throw the word out there, racism, just to get a rise out of people. But if you want to know, there are several, not only black conservatives, but black men out there that have posted a video to try to wake up their fellow brothers and sisters to do just that. Don't be stupid. Listen to what they're saying. Put your hands up when you're told put your hands up, Tommy Sotomayor's got a great video. James T. Harris has got a video. Coleon-Orr's got a video, and all those are black folks, guys. I mean.
Yeah, no, now I've seen all those, and that leads me into my next comment. The Facebook equals the internet equals bullshit. believe what
No,
you wanna
it's
believe.
liberal bullshit, Bob. I didn't mean to say that.
Get it right. You got to throw that L word in there.
Well, you can call it liberal bullshit, Republican or Democratic bullshit. I consider myself a moralistic American.
I would go with. I would say if I were to quote, put you in a box, I'd have to say constitutional American. How about that?
Thank you. Yes. Okay. I don't want to box myself in. What I feel is right is right. What I feel is wrong is wrong. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Can't we all just get along?
Not as long as you have groups like the BLM and the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons and those guys that are looking to make money instead of make peace.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly. Okay. Now let me step off of that subject for a minute. And what's up with this Wells Fargo fraud bullshit?
Well, that goes back, believe it or not, multiple years. 5,083, I believe, was the number of tellers that were involved in it.
The number I heard when it first came out was 5,300.
Okay, maybe it was 5,300, but they did actually. If you pull it up, Fox News and everybody has the actual numbers. In fact, well, as a matter of fact, there is a timeline actually for his grilling today. The CEO, I saw it. It started at 10:06 when Senator Brown started in on him. And I was looking for a dollar figure, and I couldn't find it in this article because it's so long, because it actually is the entire meeting, minute by minute. And this guy trying to say that he didn't know that the tellers were doing it, and he's deeply sorry, and he's sympathetic for the customers, yada, yada, yada. When his second in command took a bailout, a retirement, real quick, like, basically trying to allude which is not going to happen. He's going to be held accountable. They've already paid back millions in monies from Wells Fargo, but now they're saying that him and everyone else in position for bonuses, which they got millions of dollars in bonuses, they are going to be held personally responsible. At least this is what was in conversation today. The judgment has not come down, but they want to hold those guys personally responsible. Here it is. In a back pay of up to $125 million in compensation.
As well they should. And let me add this. Wells Fargo is not the only entity that participated in this type of procedure.
And to what Tim said, it is Wells Fargo and the senators say 5,300 bad apples.
Yeah, well, okay.
But they're also saying this isn't the work of just 5,300 bad apples. It's a whole orchard of people, because there's other people involved in this besides just tellers. You got branch managers involved, all from all the way up to the CEO and the VP and the president.
Yeah. Did you hear the compensation package or the severance package that the one that stepped out on them got?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I have not.
If my memory is correct, it was like 100. Yeah, it's kind of short. 117 million, I think it was.
Good God. So, but they're going to be held accountable. And here's the thing. One of the senators, and I don't remember which one it was one of the females. She was so appalled at everything that was going on. She said not only should they be made to step down and pay retribution, but they should also go to jail for fraudulent behavior. And I'm going to say, as much as I hate to say, throw somebody in jail for white collar crime, because we have so many that are out there committing murder that get away with it. But I'm going to have to say the dude needs to go to jail. Bottom line, he knew that money was coming in wrong.
Well, exactly. And that you brought up a subject that I really didn't want to touch on.
Man, I don't think I brought it up.
There's a lot more people getting away with a lot of worse things than why is marijuana legal in Colorado? We have more inmates incarcerated for basically petty crimes, and yet the head honchos for Wells Fargo are getting by with basically quote unquote murder of individuals' income.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to ask: do you agree or disagree with the fact that the guys are in jail for selling dope or possession of dope? Either way.
I'm not going to be hypocritical.
It's not a matter of being hypocritical. I'm asking you: do you believe it or not?
I have.
Don't act like a damn politician. Answer a question.
No, I believe that the use of tetrahydrocannabinol can be used for very legitimate medical procedures, be it seizures, epilepsy, hypertension, veterans on PTSD. There are, I don't understand why, well, to answer your question, the dope dealers out there are providing funds for people outside of our country to infiltrate and degrade our country. Now that plays along with the medicinal uses of tetrahydrocannabinol. I'm not going to say marijuana. I'm going to say THC because there is a difference.
You know, Bob, you are right as far as the things that it could be used for. My dad was a prime example. They put him on a synthetic marijuana, trying to help him with his appetite when he was going through chemo.
Yep.
So I've seen it used for that. I've seen it, like you said, for seizures, and it helped PTSD.
But I think you guys are confusing my question. That medical and medicinal versus criminal are totally different subjects. Totally different.
We have to agree to disagree on that, Jack.
No, well, you can, but it's my radio show, so I'm the angry American in charge.
Okay. Okay.
No, well, here. Let me pose a question to you. Now, keep in mind how I just worded that: medicinal and recreational versus criminal. How can you disagree with that? And you got 30 seconds to answer.
It's a 24-second shot clock, and I'll take the extra 6 seconds. Medicinal versus recreational. I have used.
You're about to hit the dinger.
A long time ago, recreational purposes, and as much as I hate.
You're trying to cover your back on that one.
I heard that. As much as I hate prescription drugs, they're meant for a purpose, and medicinal tetrahydrocannabinol, marijuana.
Just say THC, because I can't say all that other crap.
Oh, THC, a blunt.
Now you're speaking from experience, I see. You've been visiting with more than the captain, man.
Well,
I'm picking on you, Bob. You know we appreciate you calling. We appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, I know.
All right, you got anything quick? Because I'm about to have to hit a commercial break, and I got to touch on something before we get.
Yeah. I have one last thing. I'm looking at my notes here. What do I want to bring? Okay. Everybody's opinion on Justin Bieber versus Miley Cyrus, and I'll leave you with that. And
you always go out. You always go out in a flame. I mean, literally, Bob. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk with you all later, and I'm watching the podcast, so I'm on YouTube. I can hear everything you say.
All right, Bob. Thanks so much for calling in. Highway Jack, Angry American, Tim, and what's her name again?
I don't know. You normally call me Pistol Annie.
Yeah, well, she is a pistol. But anyway, we appreciate you calling in. We got to roll on before we get to a commercial. Thanks so much, Bob. Have a great evening.
You too, man.
All right, before we hit commercial break, I want to clear something up because I was trying to find these notes earlier when we were talking about that bridge that not the bridge that they talk about building bridges, but they actually built that wall. So far, and this is in payments, and it's not Tanzania. It's and again, I don't speak Middle Eastern countries very well. Tanzania, Tunisia. Tanzania. It does border Libya, but in payments now, we've already sent $24.9 million of that. Now this is in payments. It says that we have agreed to fund this multi-million-dollar project and install electronic security surveillance systems against this country and the Libyan border. And it is currently being dealt with. And I have seen it in action. They've got the moat. They don't have it completely done. They've got 200 kilometers. And judging by the map line I saw, it probably got another 100 or so. But it's funny that, Clinton and Obama and everybody talks about building bridges. But let me ask you something. A man that's very well protected, more so probably than a president. And I'm not Catholic, but the Pope. He's very well protected.
You ever seen the wall around that
I
place?
was just fixing to say it.
And he's the one that mouthed about what was it he said? He was
he said something
about the wall. It wasn't God or Christian or something other to build a wall.
I thought I had it in this, or it was in another one, but yeah, he said something about it. I'm like, dude, you live at freaking Vatican.
Have you ever seen the walls around that place?
Yeah, I was in Italy for 3 years.
My God.
But I mean, come on. That just blew me away. I was like, all these people they're talking about have exactly said. I mean, Clinton herself, which I posted, I don't know if you saw, it's on Angry American and Highway Jack, of Clinton versus Clinton, her talking back and forth where she says, I oppose gay marriage. And then she turns around and they showed the dates on all this stuff. And some of the stuff was literally months apart. It was like, she didn't even think about it.
I have seen them. I don't think I watched that.
But yeah, I couldn't remember, but I knew it was an astronomical amount of money that they're putting into this thing. And we're making payments. This country is making payments to build a wall and moat.
To keep people out of another country.
Yeah.
But we can't keep them out of
but
our own.
They're also, I think Obama is paying Mexico to help build a wall to keep people
on the southern border.
On the southern border.
Yeah, absolutely he is.
Holy crapola. Man, there you go. I got to quit doing that, man. I got to drop that accent from my repertoire. I mean, I'm gonna have to knock the humps off the camel, man. I don't know. I don't know what the crap.
Y'all talking about giving money to other countries. I saw a shirt and both of y'all would wear it. And it said, why bother giving money to countries who hate us? Let them hate us for free.
Well, they already do that. And I just got a message, no bashing the Pope. Why? I thought Catholic priests bash the boys all the time. I didn't say that. We have got to go to commercial break. We appreciate it so much.
You better.
Oh, Lord, forgive me and the pygmies down in New Guinea. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit a commercial break. We'll be right back. Highway Jack and Company, the Angry American. What a show. What a show.
I'm getting away from him.
That's what you reminded me of, that T-shirt I saw.
Commercial not up.
The pampered puppy.
The pampered puppy.
But at least our comment. Oh, did you? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I got the screen share.
Looking at the other comment.
Oh yeah. I forget y'all can see. I'm gonna have to.
You can't hide it from us.
What? Glad they didn't say anything. That'd be kind of hard to do.
More of these before we get back on the air.
All right, we're back live. Highway Jack, Angry American, and crew tonight, man. We got it loaded down. It's the Highway Jack and Tenny crew. If you guys haven't seen, we've got another one of the little Tennies running around here. It's like Mexico. We got little tinnies everywhere. El Tinny, El Tino. You're on live with Highway Jack and Angry American.
Hey, this is Bob, and I was an altar boy at the time. So
Is there anything you haven't done, Bob? I don't answer that. Please don't answer that. Yeah.
No, we won't bring that up. Get back to your show. I was an altar boy. I drank the wine from behind the chalice, behind the altar. So, yeah, the Pope has walls.
Well, thank you for clarifying that moment in time.
Y'all be well. I won't bother you anymore. Speak your mind, because I'm listening.
All right, my man. Thanks so much for being an Angry American with us. All right, we're back, and we still have some time for calls. But Tim, you had something you told me earlier today, and I don't remember. I've got to quit doing that. I'm gonna have to start my Sergeant Slaughter. Just bring in. What do you have? An axe handle or something you carried around with you? Remember those days back in the old wrestling days?
Oh, man, I don't know. I never watched wrestling. I can't stand it.
You're just jealous.
I just can't stand it.
If I didn't know better, I'd think she was from South somewhere, and just a guess. I believe we got Dandy Brandy. That's what we're gonna call her.
Actually, she's not.
Yeah, she's been transplanted long enough that
that may be the case.
She's got that southern.
She'll tell you real quick where she's from.
Where are you from, young lady?
Texas.
See, she's from the South.
You even open your mouth and you won't sleep you'll sleep. It'll just be a permanent sleep.
Oh, don't tell me she's from Alabama.
No, my entire family, minus myself, were born and raised in Texas. I, on the other hand, had parents that lived in Arkansas at the time of my birth.
Oh, so you're a Clinton baby.
You do realize
in the zone. I mean, in the zone.
No. You do realize I do carry, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
you should also
sure.
realize that you're within reaching distance.
That's all right. I'm good with it. You know, every woman should be packing. Some of them don't know which bathroom to go to, but you know. Isn't it funny that now I brought that up? That was kind of a segue for a reason. That who is it that's trying to sue? Isn't it Obama trying to sue North Carolina for their not allowing the bathroom thing?
Yes.
Is that not the craziest stuff? I mean, here's the bottom line. All right, I'm not for the whole bathroom thing, but it's an easy fix. Have we got the family bathroom. I mean, change it. Make it.
I don't know what I am.
Just put bathroom. Just put bathroom on it. End of story. I mean, you don't even have to be discriminatory about it. Seriously, you don't. Just put bathroom.
They're going to keep on.
But it's just like everything else that infuriates you. It's one of those, why do we have to cave in? Why? We have just as much right.
Bob was an altar boy. Ask him. I don't know. Bob, I'm picking on you. Don't call. You don't have to call in and tell me I got onto you. But you did open the door. I told you, you can't open too many doors and me ignore it. All right. Did you have? I thought no. Young Conservatives. You ever heard of those guys?
Oh yeah.
A lot. Unfortunately, they really kind of messed up on their website, because a lot of times when they come up, it says youngcons.com, and it's Young Conservatives. Excuse me. This has been shared all over the place, but I printed it up because I thought it was just too much to pass up. And it says up to at least 858 immigrants who had pending deportation orders. We all know they got their papers to be here. I mean, personally, I'm not sure that I really am falling for that being an accident, quite honestly. I'm just curious if it's not more Democratic voters. I mean, I know our government screws up left and right, but is there, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist per se, but isn't that a possibility? I mean, Hillary wants to go, I forget the percentage, but percentages are only really worthy of certain comparisons. Let's think about the people she's talking about. She wants to go from 10,000 Syrians that Obama wants to let in to 65,000. And when does she want to do that? Now. Why does she want to do that? Because they're but here's the thing. There's supposed to be a time period for you to get your citizenship. You should not be allowed to vote if you're not a U.S. citizen. You know,
absolutely.
The whole thing, if you look at, yes, I'm not drinking my normal energy drink. I picked up this on sale.
There you go.
And man, it's ooh, Lord have mercy, Mr. Percy.
I thought you throwed up for me.
Oh man.
Well, has Tim ever told you about our friend Case that's from Holland and what all he had to go through to get his citizenship?
I think we did talk about that. Yeah, we did. Yeah, no, yes, we did. But that's the thing. Legally, I don't have a problem getting your citizenship legally. And Obama is trying to say that the average, whether it be Syrian, Muslim, or whatever, he's trying to say that they go through a 3-year vetting process. That's the biggest load of crap. Well, everything he says is a load of crap. But there's no way that I would ever believe that. I was looking at our time, which I can change the time.
I was looking at the comment from your friend in the Bronx. Hello.
Yes, that's Barbie from the Bronx.
Yes, we all can see your comment.
I've warned people commenting to be very cautious because it is a shared screen running around here, so it could get dangerous real quick. So
I can promise you,
all those comments that you guys were telling me about my co-host, just don't post them right now, okay? Please hold off.
Go ahead. Oh, now he's going to close everything.
Well, I got to be able to get to where I'm looking here.
Oh, guys.
Before I forget, you need to check out all the shows during the week. And tomorrow night is the Guru, the rock and roll show.
Yes.
Thursday is Ladies,
yes.
Ladies Talk. And then, of course, during the week, you have the morning show and Military Mike on Monday. And with that being said, again, before I forget, we have a ride going on this weekend, motorcycle ride for Don Brown. And my co-host and guest will be riding my Harley, and I will be riding. Unfortunately, I had hoped to ride Don's Harley, but because of him having ALS, he's not even, they haven't put in, well, it's insured, but they don't have a tag on it for the last 2 years because he couldn't ride it. But thank you to another great man, because his name is Jack. He's letting me borrow his brother's, who is his deceased brother's Harley, which he inherited, and you know, wanted to keep it in the family for a very good reason. But I'm going to be riding, Deb and I'll be riding it, and you guys will be riding my Glide, enjoying the tunes and the nice plush seat. But it's an awesome Road King. It reminds me of the '57 Chevy, that teal and white.
Oh,
it's a wicked bike. So we'll be riding that. And right now we're looking at about, and it's hard to say because a lot of people, this always happens when you guys know, if you've ever done a Facebook event, a lot of people tell you they're coming and they don't post it on the Facebook event. And then you have ones that post it that they're coming and don't show up. So it's really hard to get a gauge and number. But right now we're looking at probably around 50 riders if things go like they should, which would be awesome.
Be a great ride. Yeah,
the least we're looking at is probably 25. But from what I can, and that's, you know, again, when you invite 100 people, when I DJ a wedding, I tell people, if you invite 100 people, you're probably going to get about 60%.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Sure.
And, but back to talking about, you know, being honored. I mean, it was truly an honor for me this past weekend to do that retirement for Command Sergeant Major. I mean, they had his DVD montage going from where he'd served all around the world and stuff. Man, it was just like, not only was that awesome, but at the same time, the Georgia game was on, and he has an official doghouse, his pool house. His wife gave it to him for a retirement party, and he's got an awesome doghouse, and it's all decorated up, and he got a ton of great gifts, majority. Either it was dog related or military related. So he got some really cool stuff. And I thought that was super cool.
That is.
But I mean, what an honor to be. I mean, those folks, just being around all of them, and you know, you're there not only with the guys that served, but women that served and their spouses, and just the camaraderie that they have. And we didn't talk politics. We did have some football bashing going on. The Tigers were unfortunately ahead of us a little bit, and I played Eye of the Tiger, and a couple of people got a little upset.
That was dirty. That was dirty. That was dirty.
Not that I would ever do anything like that. So then I turned around and played We Will Rock You right behind that. So kind of dug out of that, But yeah, I mean, it was a cool event, and that goes back to, and I do appreciate Bob bringing up the 22 push-up thing, because, we at Just for Fun Radio and Tim and I at Striker Firearms Training, and Brandy for that matter. I mean, we all consider one big family, and we do as much as we can for not only veterans, but for first responders. I think we got. I think Bob's calling in. Would this be Bob?
Yes, this would be.
You and a captain.
An altar boy and a Penn State fan.
So far, man, the only thing you got going for you is constitutional American. I mean,
Joe Paterno forever. I'm hanging up on you, dude.
All right, man. Take care.
Carry on.
All right, you too. So you're seeing, though, I've got people that call in like Bob, and people that message, but they won't call in. And the what did I call her? Barbie from the Bronx. Yeah, I don't know where it came up with that.
She won't call in.
Well, if she does, we might not be able to understand her. She'll have that New Yorker, that Yankee Bronx, Forget about it. Forget about it.
We'll give it a hell of a shot. Bring it on.
But no, we appreciate you guys listening. And, if there's anything you want to to call and talk about, that's cool. And I do have a couple other things. Let me get back. Let me
check your notes over there.
I'm reading messages, and it's cool that you guys can see them, because I can always call them the carpet when they deny it. Then
Yep, we got you. Sorry.
Did you see the one from Bob a minute ago?
Yes, I did. He sent the same one to me.
But okay, let me get.
Yeah, we do the same for ourselves, Bob.
All right, here we go. I got one. Since Hillary claims to be a woman, and we have a woman sitting here with us.
So does Michelle.
Yeah, well,
I know that's right.
Good Lord. Yeah, that one right there. Some of the pictures are
transgender.
But anyway, what do you think about and
there's that.
I know you're conservative, and we all know that, or you wouldn't be sitting here. But Hillary versus Trump on handling terrorism. I mean, do you think Putin or anybody is afraid of one more than the other?
I can't even believe you brought her name up.
That's what I do. I'm a talk show host.
we talk bad about people.
Well, I mean, I'm asking seriously. I mean, from a woman's point of view, I mean, let's face it. Some people fear women. I don't think Putin would fall in that, but I'm just saying the comparison of the two.
Honestly, Trump's going to have more fear than Hillary is. Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no doubt about it. You have no qualms about it. You're with the rest of the conservatives on that. Okay, I just was curious, because some people really think that the PMS syndrome and all that stuff.
I've read some of the things she said to people.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different. Yeah, we had that sternness when it comes to like our children or whatever, but not when you're leading a country, not when you're leading a nation.
Well, I'm glad you agree, because that goes back to what I said earlier. She's been there for 30 some odd years, and she's been in a lot of different positions. And again, nobody can really say what she's done.
Exactly.
If you pull up, and I did a couple of shows ago, I pulled up her stats on what she had done. And there was nothing to even talk about. Now, did you guys hear about North Korea doing more nuclear testing?
No.
Recently?
Yeah. No, it was like yesterday or I don't think it was today, but they had claimed that it was not for bombing missiles, but it was for satellite missiles. That was But here's the thing: either way, it's against the rules, you know. But what got me when I heard this is Obama stated that they need to be held accountable. And I just got to say, anytime I hear Obama or Clinton talk about somebody needs to be held accountable for something, I mean, he's not going to be held accountable. He's not going to do anything to hold anybody accountable. And he's never been held accountable.
Nope.
Now, I didn't hear his final address to the UN today. Did you guys hear it?
No.
Yeah, I told you I've been in Alabama all day, man. They still piping in sunshine over there.
Yeah.
And I've been
And-
homeschooling all day. So
Did you learn anything?
I learned that my children hate doing math.
It took you homeschooling to figure that out?
Well, you got the little brainiac sitting over there next to his father, and he's excellent at math, and he still hates doing it.
Well, you know, my son was super smart, and he fell off to a point where he started getting bad grades because he literally come home and would tell me that he knew more than the teacher was talking about at the time. And I was like, that's a lazy excuse. So I had to go have a parent conference, parent teacher conference with him.
I gotta
And-
have one of those tonight.
Yeah. I walked out of there going, wow, he's right. Because I mean, the only thing this math teacher could do, or any teacher at the time, was just read off what they had. And
Right.
you look at the average age, I mean, you look at all the sex scandals that are going on in schools today, but then look at the age of these teachers. I mean, when we were,
Oh, yeah.
when I was going to school, the teacher was 60 years old.
Exactly.
You know, we did have one female coach that did have, we had one female coach that had some issues with some males there. And we did have one male coach that actually married a student after she graduated. And they are still together today, 20 some odd years later. So, I can't really fault that. And he was young at the time,
Right.
but not young like these. I mean, there's kids teaching. I mean,
Yes.
I went second grade, I think it was second or third grade, to my daughter's school, and they were adding on to the school, and they had the little trailers outside, and the teacher opens the door, and it was somebody I went to school with.
Wow.
I was like, and I was not old. I was in my mid-20s. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're
No.
teaching my kids? Seriously?
Our next door neighbor's been a teacher. How long's Courtney been a teacher? 7 years now, I think.
Courtney, they just threw you under the bus.
Well, no, I mean,
Oh,
she
she hates
just,
me, so
she's
not
only 31 now. And she's been teaching 7 years, and she's just now 31. So
Holy cow.
exactly.
Yeah,
Very
you
young.
figure 4
Well-
years, man. 4 years, so 18. So they're teaching by 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they know nothing about the world. And that's the
No.
problem that we talked about last week about NFL players. They're mid-20s. They haven't done anything. They don't know anything about the world. Now you got these high school guys kneeling. They don't know anything about the world. The coaches, like you said, should step up and take care of
Yes.
it, and they don't. I mean, it's a sad thing, but I'm glad you brought that one video up, because that is a really cool video, no doubt.
Yeah, it is.
Because he, like I said, other than the fact he had his hands in his pocket, I was kind of thrown off on that deal. But there was one other thing that I know we're running short on time, but I thought you had told me you had something, Mr. Tenney.
If I did, I've forgotten it by now.
Does he do that to you all the time, Brandon? Is
Uh-huh.
that his excuse?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so he gets it from homeschooling then. Okay, I got it. I got it. It all makes sense. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. And this is something that America, this was where I was going to with where do you get your news? And then we got kind of off on the Facebook tangent. But the problem with where do you get your news and mainstream media is they're not all the stuff that's going on that you're seeing right now, like in France and Germany and Europe in general. This kind of stuff that you're seeing on screen right now, they don't show that here because they don't want to frighten America into knowing what is really going on around the world with letting in these refugees.
No, it's not have anything to do with frighten anybody. They don't want to tell the people because they're crooked
Well, yeah, they're
and
crooked
liars.
and they're going for the left. But look at the age of all these refugees. These are refugees supposedly, and they're all, what are they, middle-aged males, and they look like they really need a serious butt whooping.
Well, here's the thing.
And I don't mean from mama and daddy either.
No, if Americans actually got to see this kind of stuff on the mainstream media, We wouldn't have people going, oh, yeah, y'all just come on in. It's okay. Come on over here. No.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is so right. And I only caught the tail end of this before I left out. And what you see on screen right now with Jennifer Aniston, did you guys hear any of that today?
No.
I heard that it was not only was it going to be known as the date that Brangelina or Bradgelina or whatever they call the two filed for divorce, but it was going to be the date of Jennifer memes. Apparently, there's tons of memes. I haven't had a chance to look it up, but they were talking about it. And I can't believe that that's what, and this goes back to the media. This is what they're reporting on. You know, they're not talking about the Wells Fargo thing, which affects Americans all across the country. They're not talking so much about the refugee thing in reality. They're not, it was all I could do to hear about the police officer shooting that happened up north. I mean,
that's the society we live in.
Right.
They could care less about what is going on with our country.
Well, that's
and
what I like
more
about who's the guy, not Waters World, but the other guy that goes out. He's out, I think he's on the West Coast and does all the videos. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He does some of the funniest stuff, but he asks simple questions like, you know, who's the vice president? They can't answer that, but you can ask them who's the third kid on the Kardashian lineup.
Oh,
and
yeah.
boom, they know it like it's yesterday.
Mm-hmm. It's sad.
But yeah, I just saw it, and I'm scrolling on for you listeners out there curious. I am on the Angry American page, scrolling right now at some of the stuff.
I just posted that video on there
because I wanted to see there was something else that we had talked about, and I want to see what the viewers and listeners are putting up here on the page.
Nothing.
Yeah, you got the summit of the world government. I got to check that out. But and that is the best Trump ad ever. If you get a chance, please watch it. I mean, yes, it's long. I don't know why they call it an ad so much because it's like 4 minutes long, but it's pretty cool video footage and stuff. But I guess I went over all my notes. I touched base on what I had. You know, if you guys fell short, you know, Brandy, I know you're used to that. But
story of my life.
I mean, I actually have somebody here that's shorter than I am, other than a child. So, you know, I get to say something. All right, we got
That's
one
the story of my life. But
we got 1 minute, and we're out of here, guys. All right, well, that's been the Angry American tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We do appreciate you guys tuning in. Please feel free to give us feedback for sure. If you are not a member of the Angry American page, jump on there, and one of our admins will be glad to include you. And we look forward to hearing from you. And anytime you got a comment that you want to send us a message on or a subject you want to talk about, feedback, we'd love to hear it. Which is such, I should have brought up earlier, a lot of our Angry Americans already, regardless of what the polls say it's a rigged election. I'm holding out to say that that's not going to happen with Trump. I'm just hoping that he will stand up and make sure that doesn't happen.
Let's hope.
If it does, I think, you know, to say the word recount will be an understatement. If he doesn't make if he loses and doesn't make a big thing, then I'm going to wonder if he was really in it to win it.
Exactly.
You know, that's going to be where I'm going to say.
I agree.
He has to. I mean, if he doesn't, then boy, what a letdown. And next week we'll have to talk about how many Muslims we have in our government.
Oh yeah, and that topic right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll
in charge
have
of.
Yeah, citizenship of Muslims.
Yes.
Oh,
yep. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in with Highway Jack and the Tinnies for Angry American Show tonight. Angry American Radio every Tuesday night on Just for Fun Radio. Why? Because it's just for fun.
YouTube's still up.
I was over here trying to get my computer to upload earlier, and that's why.